Next, Mr. Kotani, yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm Tetsuo Kotani, a research fellow at the Japan Institute of International Affairs, which is a private independent think tank in Tokyo. And my institute is independent, and I'm also a private researcher, so I don't represent the Japanese government's view. But still, I support the current Japanese and American agreement on the base realignment. That's my stance. I was born in Osaka, grew up in Osaka, and although I'm now working in Tokyo, I don't call Tokyo my home. My home is still Osaka, and but still Osaka and Tokyo are in the Japanese mainland. So hopefully I can provide Japanese mainlanders' view on this issue. I'm a frequent visitor to both Okinawa and Hawaii. But unfortunately, every time I visit these two islands, I'm on business. And but today's atmosphere is more relaxing, so I feel here on my vacation for the first time. So I'd like to thank the organizers for having me. Tomorrow is the second anniversary of the Greater Eastern Japan earthquake and tsunami. And U.S. military in Japan and in Okinawa provided huge disaster relief support through the Operation Tomodachi. And I think the Operation Tomodachi promoted the recognition of the importance of U.S. military presence in Japan among the Japanese national citizens. So I think the Operation Tomodachi brought a good image of U.S. military in Japan. But at the same time, I feel that the negative image of U.S. forces in Japan is also spreading. Because my research focus now is the Senkaku confrontation, I have many chances to talk before Japanese students or general public. And every time I give a lecture, I ask my audience whether you think the US would support Japan in case of armed conflict between Japan and China over the Senkakus. And to my surprise, every time about 70% of my audience says no. And I found there are two primary reasons for the negative answer. One is, of course, the deep US-China economic relations. So my audience don't think the US would come to support Japan, destroying the US economic interests with China. That's in some sense understandable. But the other answer is more pragmatic from my perspective. Many students of mine and my audience say, they hear almost every day about the negative accidents or crimes conducted by U.S. military in Japan. And the Osprey issue is another one. And they think, hearing those news, they just cannot believe the U.S. will support in time of crisis. And in that sense, more and more Japanese people don't believe in the credibility of the U.S.-Japan alliance. And I think this is a very serious issue. If Japanese people don't believe in the alliance, I think that will embolden and encourage our neighboring countries, including North Korea and China, and undermining the credibility of the alliance. So I think we have to address this issue. So today I prepare only one map. This is a map developed by a group of Japanese defense experts, and I was also involved in the process. And Japanese defense planners, now every time Japanese defense planners think about our security policy, we start with this map. This is a map of East Asia from the Beijing's perspective. And I think this map explains very well the importance of Okinawa, its strategic implication for the regional security. First of all, Okinawa is close to Korea and Taiwan, the two hotspots, Cold War legacy in this region. So in Korean Peninsula and Taiwan Straits, the Cold War is not over yet. And also Okinawa is very close to the vital shipping lanes between East Asia and the Indian Ocean. So Okinawa is important for the sea lane protection. And more recently, Okinawa has become the center of US-China strategic competition. The United States tries to maintain access to East Asia, while China is attempting to block the US access to East Asia. And also humanitarian assistance, disaster relief operations have become more important than in the past. So Okinawa base is also very important for those operations too. So this is why we still need the presence of US military in Okinawa. But we, the people in Japan all recognize we have put a heavy burden on Okinawa. So this is why the Japanese and the American governments have made every effort to reduce the US military footprints in Okinawa. But at the same time, as you can see, Japan still lives in a very dangerous neighborhood, so we have to maintain deterrence at the same time. So many people have made a sincere efforts to reduce the US military presence in Okinawa while maintaining the credibility of the alliance. So that's the reason we now have the current base realignment package that includes the relocation of Denmark to Henoko and the transfer of 9,000 US Marines to Guam, Hawaii, and other places. And also we have agreed to return the 5 facilities south of Kadena. So if we can implement those base realignment package, we can definitely reduce the US military footprints in Okinawa while maintaining the credibility of the alliance. But the implementation is very difficult. We have to admit it. We have many people involved in this process, while Henoko is the only local area that invited US military bases. But Henoko is still part of the larger Nago City, and Nago City is part of larger Okinawa Prefecture. So as more people involved, the process becomes more difficult. And we have left-wing activists from mainland who are also involved in this process. And unfortunately, we have occasional accidents and crimes. So I understand Okinawan people are not happy about this complex and slow process. But still, please understand the people involved. Uh, I mean, both Japanese and American governments are trying their best to reduce the number of the U.S. military in Okinawa. So finally, I'll talk about the future. You know, we have to admit Okinawa is a victim of the geopolitics in East Asia. But we have to bring a better future for Okinawa, Japan, and East Asia as a whole. And we have three future scenarios in Asia. One is China continues to grow its power and becomes dominant in this region, kicking out US influence from Asia. So under the China hegemony scenario, the regional countries would lose independence. We have to just follow Beijing's expectations. And from our perspective, that's the worst scenario, and we have to prevent it. And to prevent this scenario, we have a second scenario of balance of power. In this scenario, Japan, US, India, Australia, and other regional countries would align to balance the rise of China. I think, unfortunately, the reality is closer to this balance of power scenario. And in this scenario, we still need US military presence in Okinawa and Japan. But as strategic thinkers, we have to think about the bright future, more optimistic future, which is a liberal Asia. Japan, US, and the other regional countries would welcome China as a responsible and constructive partner in this region. And all the countries in this region would behave based on agreed rules and international law. In that scenario, we can everybody can enjoy freedom and independence and prosperity. So our task is to bring this optimistic future to Asia. And still, the Okinawa plays a very important role to bring this future. And if we can achieve such an optimistic future, we will be able to reduce the US military footprints in Okinawa more. So to bring the reason we still need US military presence in Okinawa is to bring a better future, not to keep the Okinawa, keeping Okinawa heavily burdened. So I think everybody involved should make sincere efforts to bring this better future. And to do so, the dialogue among the people involved is necessary. And I think this kind of forum is a very good venue to do so. So I very much hope the success of this forum, and also I very much look forward to the discussion section. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kotani.